Hello, and welcome to James Lewis's Express Lane Reviews, where we get you out as fast as possible, bringing you the review for Rampage. The Rock is the Rock in the Rock with three giant monsters. Now, how do you take an arcade game about three monsters destroying buildings and turn it into a movie? This is how you do it. They did a very good job of this. I know in the video game it's like people who mutate or whatever, but in this it's just animals that mutate. And the way they mutate is Evergene, I think it's Evergene. It's a made-up company based in Chicago. Is working on genetic engineering, genetic writing, code writing, DNA writing to create pretty much monsters. And it's like, well, how are you going to weaponize that? Well, let's say you wanted to attack, say, New York City. You release one of these canisters into subways. Suddenly you have thousands of rats the size of cows that are super fast, super agile, super strong, heal really quickly, and are super aggressive. So you can imagine now why PD officer empties his clip into this cow-sized rat, and that rat just rips him apart because it doesn't care about bullets. So yeah, so like the concept of why they're making this chemical makes sense when if you put it into what they're going to use it for, weaponry. But the Rock works with George the Gorilla, an albino gorilla, the only one of his kind in captivity, according to The Rock in this movie. Because The Rock was Special Forces, he retired and joined... This is an actual thing where, like, ex-military will go to Africa, South America, so forth, and protect endangered species. There's this rhino herd, or whatever you call them, in this area. So you have, 30, 40 ex-military guys who will camp there, they will live there, and if they see poacher, bye-bye poacher. Like, it's what they do, is that they protect wildlife, and that's what The Rock was doing when he found the mother was already being butchered, took care of the poachers, and then saved George and brought him back to the San Diego Wildlife Reserve. But the company that's making the chemicals was doing experiments on their version of the International Space Station, which reminded me a bit of life where, alright, we're going to bring these rocks and dirt samples from Mars, put them on the ISS. That way, if there's anything in it that could harm the planet, well, it's on the ISS, it's not on the planet. Except, the experiment goes nuts. There's, a rat that just rips everything apart, destroys the space station. Woman gets some samples and is about to escape when it attacks the pod. Cracks its glass. But it's, yay, I'm free, I'm gonna live. Then on re-entry, the glass, which is already cracked by the giant rat thing attacking it, shatters. She dies, pod explodes. But the canisters land in three different areas. San Diego Wildlife Preserve, South Dakota, Wyoming, one of those places. They're all the same. They're all squares. Anyways. And then in like the Everglades of Florida. So you get Ruff the Wolf, George the Gorilla, and then you get a giant alligator, which they never actually gave a name to. But the company that is making these monsters... It's like it has the speed of a cheetah, apparently sharks don't stop growing, they just grow forever until they die. So they have that genome, so they just keep growing bigger and bigger and bigger, stuff like that. But one of the things they have in them is bat hearing, something to do with sonic hearing. And so at their tower in Chicago, it's like, alright, we activate this button, it activates this sound, they'll be drawn to it, and then we can give them this antidote so that way we can control them. It won't make them shrink or anything, but it kind of takes away the aggressiveness so they can try to control them. Well, so now you have George the Gorilla leaving San Diego, beelining for it. You have the wolf beelining from South Dakota, Wyoming area, and then you have whatever they have, the alligator. They never gave a name, coming in from the Everglades, going into the water and all that. But obviously, you're going to have the military, you're going to have the government, you're going to have this company, you're going to have all this stuff going on. One woman goes to the Rock. I know it's Dwayne Johnson, but it's the Rock. Anyways, it's like, oh, I work for Evergene. I can help you cure George. Yay! Then it turns out she used to work for Evergene. Then she was fired and arrested and sent to 13 months in prison because she was stealing the hard drives. Because she found out, she was like, oh, my brother has this illness. This company will help with that. I'm going to research and develop this cure for him. Except everything she was researching and creating was being used for bioweapons. And When she found that out, she's like, all right, I'm going to steal these hard drives, destroy my work. They caught her before she could do that, and again, she went to jail for 13 months. And her brother died while she was in jail. One thing I liked about George is being a gorilla, like, he knew sign language. And so, like, him and The Rock were able to joke around a bit, stuff like that, with sign language. And they made The Rock, big, hulking, just gorgeous man. But he doesn't like people, because obviously he's been to war, he's been after poachers. He's seen the worst of the worst in humanity. It's like, no, I like animals. Either they eat you, or they don't eat you. There's no in between. But again, this is another movie that people are shitting on. It's like, why? What were you expecting? You know what I'm expecting? The Rock in a movie about monsters. Guess what I got? The Rock in a movie about monsters. And it's like, oh, the CGI was damn good. I looked up the budget for this one, $120 million. They did more with their CGI budget in $120 million than Justice League did with their $300 million, or Black Panther did with their, I think, $175 million. So, like, $55 million less than what Black Panther used, and yet they didn't have funky-looking CGI like the rhinos in Black Panther. Like, their stuff looked good. And then the guy who plays Negan Walking Dead, he's an OGA, other government agency. Never really specified which, but he's an asshole. But The Rock's a bit of an asshole too, and his, the old cowboy saying, his assholes stick together. So he's an asshole, but he does help The Rock here and there, but he's still an asshole. I mean, there's a lot that goes on in this movie, but main focus is The Rock trying to save George. He doesn't care about that. He just wants to save George. The military is trying to take him out. And when they're attacking the city, they're trying to evacuate the city and then bring in Moabs, the mother of all bombs. What Trump dropped on Afghanistan and all that. It's like, so you're going to drop Moabs on a populated city. Well, that's why we're evacuating. You'll never be able to evacuate that many people that quickly. So The Rock and the woman that used to work for Evergene are working together to try to get the antidote and give it to at least George. The company that makes the antidote and made the monsters is trying to control the monsters and get away without getting in trouble, because now the FBI is investigating, other government agencies are investigating. They're under a watchful eye, but they're still trying to be the evil corporation. Just your typical trope there. There's a few tropes here and there that they follow pretty closely to a T, but it is still a good movie. Same rating, yeah, I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. Maybe an 8 if you're a fan of The Rock like I am. So if you're a fan of The Rock, 8. If you're not, 7.5. But it is still a movie to go see. It's entertaining. It's under 2 hours. You can sit there, eat some popcorn, drink some soda, and be entertained for 107 minutes. One thing, though, there is no end credit scene. Because normally, if there's an end credit scene, lights stay off. If there isn't, the lights turn on as soon as the movie's over. That didn't happen. The lights stayed off. I'm like, well, the lights are off. Because obviously, it's like, oh, the movie's over, turn the lights on so people can see get out. That's what happened to Truth or Dare. It's like, oh, movie's over, lights on, credits rolling on the screen, but the lights are on, so there's nothing at the end. Leave. But with Rampage, the lights stayed off. And off. And off. And it's like, alright, there's got to be an end credit scene. And then there wasn't, so don't stick around for an end credit scene. There is none. I'm not going to give any spoilers, although really, what kind of spoilers is there to give in a movie like this? It's monsters attacking a city and The Rock. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Like, but then again, I'm able to go into a movie for the movie. Not a lot of people like, oh, I have this expectation. Oh, it only might reach this, so I'm going to give it this rating. Well, if you go in with no expectations, like, I'm going to give the movie its fair chance. This movie has to stand on its own, not up to expectations, not up to previous ones or books or video games. Like, no. What is this movie about, and is it good? This movie is about The Rock and 3 giant monsters. And is it good? Yes. I enjoyed it. And as always, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and have a wonderful day.